Welcome back, everyone. This video is going to be about classes and objects in Python. You may or may not be familiar with a technique called object-oriented programming. In Python, it's very important as Python is usually used in fields related to data science. And this technique, instead of using functions and logic, it uses objects and data. Let's look into what I mean. Here in our agenda, classes and objects. In Python, a class is like a blueprint that defines certain properties of an object. A class can be seen as a cookie cutter, or like you know how in a cookie you have to shape the cookie. In the same way, a class defines the properties of an object, like its attributes, its properties, and what it really does, its functions. Let's go over the syntax of creating a class. So what you have to do first is write down the keyword class in Python. So let's go over here to our file and we can write class. And so let's say we want to create a class of vehicles. So it's like a main broad domain, like a category. And then below we can put the properties of whatever vehicle it's going to be, whatever object, whatever instance we're going to create of this blueprint that we're creating with the class. And so let me just write down class vehicle. And so like the best practice here is to put the init dunder method. We'll be learning more about dunder methods in the future, but all they mean right now is that it's like an underscore, but two of them, two underscores. So double underscore, that's why it's called double dunder. So the dunder init method, it sort of it gives the parameters of which you're gonna pass in the arguments when you're defining the object. So right now it's a little unclear, but I'll explain it more later. So def init, and then in classes the tricky part is you always have to put the self here as a parameter, because this is referring to the object itself. When we're creating the object that we're creating, that instance, that it's also an argument. So we want to have a parameter just for that. So self, and then what we can have, let's say here is the category. So sorry, I'm talking. Where am I typing? Right. So category. This defines what kind of like vehicle, what kind of vehicle it is, or like what should I say? Model, actually. Model. And let's just say color, whatever color you want your vehicle to be. And then if you want to give this this object some attributes that we can get later. So these attributes will always be a part of this object. So whenever we want, we can call on to those attributes. So for example, we can do self.model. We're defining what, so when we do whatever our object's called, let's say our object is called car. Whenever we want to do, like, let's say sorry about that. Whenever we want to do car dot whatever attribute we want, so like color, this is like a value that's always going to be stored in this object. So we have to define this though. Self.model equals to model. This just says that the attribute of self, or the object, the instance, that attribute, the value of that attribute is equal to this argument that we've been passing, whatever model it is. Same thing with color, and so far that's all we need to do. Let's go back. Okay, so in classes, again, we can define attributes like we've just done, or we can define methods that allow an object to perform certain tasks and hold data. So the syntax for attributes is similar to that of a normal variable in Python, right? This is how we define a variable, or that's how we would define a variable. The syntax for methods is similar to the syntax of a normal function in Python. In fact, it's almost the same. So if we want to create a method called go, when we want our vehicle to go, and again, you always have to put self right here, and then whatever arguments we want to pass. So how much time. So you can put time and distance. How much distance do we want our car to go, and what time? So this is just like a method. We pass in the arguments, we run the method, and then we get the value. So here we'll, instead of doing return, we'll just do print to keep it easy. So we can just do print, and then remember F strings that we can put like little placeholders in them that can refer to a variable. So for example, your whatever model it is, like your Honda, your self.model. Again, that self.model is like a global variable inside this class, so we can always refer to it. Your self.model traveled, and then you can put time. It traveled a certain distance in time minutes. And if you want to and so if you want to stop the car, we don't want it to go anymore. We can. I mean, this is not really it's not really something that we can do, like make a car go or run. I'm just making these methods to help you get the idea of how classes and objects can work in sort of a not so abstract, more like a real situation. A break. Can't put break. That's a keyword. How about stop? And here we only need to put like self. That's the only argument if we want to stop the car. And then you just print F your self.model stopped. Okay, now so far it's good, right? And so what we can do now is we can make the object. So syntax for an object is whatever. Let's say a car is our object. We can do car equals to vehicle. So we put the name of the class, and this is where the init method comes in. Now self, this is already an argument. So we don't have to put anything for the self. This thing right here, that's just for syntax. But really, the arguments that we're gonna pass in are gonna be in these two parameters. So model and color. So let's say we want a Honda and a blue one, and now we can say car.go. We want it to go, let's say 100 miles in, well, that's a lot. How about like 30 miles in 30 minutes? That sounds okay. 30 minutes, 30 miles. And now that we can run this, and I'm sorry, something is wrong here. Right. Okay, now it says your Honda traveled 30 sorry, I need to put miles. Like what is it traveling? Right? Okay, your Honda traveled 30 miles in 30 minutes. So this is basically how you define an attribute, a method, and how it really works in in classes, and how we can create objects, and how we can really use that to our own good in coding. I'll be exploring this more in future videos, but for now, that's it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Thank you.